Welcome to the WealthGenius podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The WealthGenius podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The WealthGenius podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso Quadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The WealthGenius podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Let's go. Amy Kim in the house, all the way from the West.
Yes.
The Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
Edmonton.
Hottest market in Canada right
but
now.
Coldest place.
Oh, yes. That's true, too.
When I saw that you were in town, I said, I have to have her on the podcast. There's no and ifs or buts about it because you are truly an inspiring person. We've known each other for a while, and I've always admired your drive and everything that you're doing. So, I wanted you here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
So before we get into that, I wanna kind of go a little bit deeper into how you got started, and what led you here.
Yeah, that's a long conversation. We can do like 20 minutes for that. Yeah, so I was in IT for long years, over 20 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So you were 2 when you started.
What was that? Yeah, exactly. Yes, and one time I was in a vacation and I broke my ankle actually, and I was on a sick leave for like 5-6 months, and I saw how quickly I was replaced by someone, and even doesn't matter how hard you work for a company. So that's one thing. So then
So you discovered that you were easily replaceable, and you felt like you were part of a team, but really you just felt like you were a number.
Yeah, I felt like I'm just a part, right? So when the part is broken, it can be easily replaced right away. Yeah, I used to get lots of awards from work, and I got a higher increase compared to others. So I had a pride, and I was working really hard. Sometimes there's a project that like 2-3 days, that 24/7 project. Mm-hmm. So then I even didn't have time to sleep like this. But when that happened, I just reality hit me really bad, really hard.
You were giving your life to this job, and now when you needed it, it was not there for you.
No, it wasn't. So then, during on the bed, actually, I was going through the traumas that because we've been waiting for this vacation very long time. I'm a single mom. It's not very easy to go on a vacation for 2 weeks with the two girls, and when you are supporting everything by yourself, right? So it's supposed to be really good vacation, but then I broke my ankle on the 5th day, and the rest of days I was in the hospital.
Wow.
in Mexico. Yeah, and
not the best. Not saying anything about Mexican hospitals, but it's not like being home.
No, and especially when you are broke your ankle, it's not great place to be. And when I came back and I got a surgery, but I was going through traumas that I ruined my vacation, family vacation. We've been waiting so long, right? And that led to me that how can I overcome this trauma? So I started reading books, and there's a book that what was that book? I don't remember the name of the book, but it's a Roman Sharma book that our life is like a cinema movie. So when you go to the old cinema, you have those slices, right, of the scenes. And then when you have more sad scenes, it becomes a sad movie. Mm-hmm. And when you have more happy scenes, then it becomes a happy ending movie. So our life is very similar. So if we can replace our traumas and bad memories with the good memories, then we can actually control our life, become a happy ending life.
So you're reading this book, and then you're realizing that you are in control, and you can have this happy ending. And what do you do next?
So what I did was actually I applied. I wanted to see if that works, that theory works. So I applied it. I put it on the test, and I started to thinking about people who text me how I'm feeling while I was on the bed, and also thinking about my girls, and actually worked out. So I was able to overcome trauma, and I didn't feel any guilty anymore, and that started to reading to me that more books. So actually I read more books about the self-mastery books, and that led to me that actually Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrant and The Go-Giver. So those two books.
Cash Flow Quadrant and The Go-Giver.
Yes.
And so, at some point you entered real estate, right? And so have you been doing real estate before, or?
I did it kind of without knowing what I was doing. So I bought a property, a condo, small condo in Korea, and it's like Hong Kong. So one small condo is very expensive. So I purchased that as my own home, and I did renovate it, and then I moved. I moved to Canada, so we have been renting out. Actually, we bought it for like 650,000 in let's say equivalent to a Canadian dollar, and we sold for 1.3 million after 7 years of
holding it. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. So
it
you're
worked
like,
out
okay, there's something to this real estate stuff. And, now that you're being exposed to Robert Kiyosaki and some of the 4 quadrants and these ideas. So what got you into real estate? Like what kind of piqued your interest?
Yeah, so I was started to listening to podcasts of a lot of gurus in real estate, including Stefan Arnio. So he actually is my first mentor in real estate. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and listening to a lot of YouTubes, but also one of my friends, close friends, he took the program from US. But somehow he took it for a couple of years back, but somehow it wasn't doing much for him. So he couldn't quite get going. So then I was, if I can, start, and maybe I can help him, and maybe we can do together, Like if he sees me that if I can do it, then maybe he could, regain the courage and then go back.
Or the momentum too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what was your you meet this person? Is it someone that was a friend of yours for a long time, or?
Yes.
So you meet this person, and he's in some sort of program, and he's not really excited about it. But you thought, okay, if you just wanted to, you're like, maybe I could tap into some of the knowledge and stuff, and see if we can make something out of this, and then maybe he can get re-energized again.
Yeah, that's exactly what my thoughts was, right? And also when I read that Robert Kiyosaki. Cash flow quadrant, I just learned a new word that I didn't know it's existing. So I gotta move from left quadrant to right quadrant because I was trading time for money. And if we don't learn how to get to on the right quadrant, that create a system and leverage the business, we'll have to work until we die. And that reality just hit me really bad.
Yeah, that just sucks.
Yes. So that's when I felt urgency. That I gotta do something. I gotta make changes.
And what was that first deal for you? Like what was the first? I know that you bought your condo, but you were really doing it like you just thought that you just kind of like accidentally did that. But what was like your first real deal, and what was that experience like?
So my first deal, I was analyzing deals like maybe 4-5 deals like almost every day, and we were told and then put our offers like one offers. I would say every the other day like that. So then I find a house that single bungalow house with a basement in it, and so north side of Edmonton. There was 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. on the upstairs, and then downstairs, actually no, sorry, 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom, and downstairs we have 1 bedroom, unfinished, half finished basement kind of. And I was thinking maybe I can renovate this and then flip it, because the program that I was taking was a flipping, fix and flip program.
Yeah.
Yes. So then I put an offer, and then it got accepted. And at that time,
But hold on a second.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is wild, right? Because and I remember, when I started in real estate way back when, and it's like, this seems like the world. Like, you're making an offer, and then I remember the first offer that got accepted, I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
what happens if I have to close this thing, right? So,
Right.
like, what was the feeling for you? Like, what was going through your mind as this was happening? Were you thinking about it? Were you scared about it? Were you kind of just going with the flow? What was that like for you?
Well, so I think I was like studying a year. So I went through all the materials that my friends has it. So even I learned how to knock the door when you do wholesaling, and how to show your shoulder back to the seller, the potential owner, so they're gonna feel not intimidated. They feel like safe. So I read
Wow.
all the materials through and how to say things.
Wow.
And, yes.
Wow.
And I was kind of ready mentally.
So you were mentally ready and prepared.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I did a lot of the feasibility analysis on like a lot of houses before I put an offer. So I was pretty excited when it was accepted. Yes.
So it was exciting for you. It's like,
It was
yeah.
excitement. Yes.
And so it got accepted. Now what?
Okay. And then on the other side, I was still working, right? So I still go to the office every day. And the funny thing is that I really, like every morning, I didn't excited to go to office anymore, right? And we know that there's no future there. So then I was going there, but then the funny thing was, all of a sudden my work got really slow. So then when I put my offer, that time that I just finished my project, and usually so it was IT consulting company. So when you work for IT consulting company, they have multiple projects. Whenever you finish your one project, you're supposed to be assigned to the next project right away. For some reason, I wasn't assigned to the next project. So then, this is great. I would just take advantage of it. So like I was already busy. I started to calling people from Kijiji and assembling my team and contractor, interviewing them. And also I was going like talking with the brokers about financing options. So I was already busy. So like, and then when I put an offer, I accepted. And then that's when like, I need a mentor. I need someone to have like another set of eyes.
So there was a little bit of fear there. You're like, like it's exciting. Maybe the accepting part was exciting, but then you realize like, I gotta do something, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like that a lot. And was that first deal for you successful?
I say yes and no. For sure that there are a lot of unforeseen challenges I faced, but thanks to that, I'm here today. If I didn't have that deal, probably I wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
Because I'm doing developing 32 units, and I do have 21 more lots that I have under the contract, looking into building a total of 84 units. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Amy Kim in the house. You're not playing around. You're not playing around. No.
Yeah.
And so, now, let's talk about that. So now what's kind of the current state of the projects that you're doing? So you're doing land development, you have these lots under contract. What's the strategy?
So may I talk about a little bit of a background, how I came
Sure.
with this project?
Yeah. Do it. Yeah.
Okay.
You're the guest.
You're the host.
yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So before this project, so my focus has been renovating all the houses or developing additional dwellings to the existing houses. And my last project before this big project, it was 8 plex. So I converted from 4 plex to 8 by adding additional dwellings in the basement. And that was really good project, but it was infill project, and we bought it for under like 1.3 million. So to be exact, it was 1.22 million, and we put 200,000 in it. And we didn't need to renovate anything upstairs because it was already new.
Yeah.
So I really like that. Oh, wow, look at this. I don't need to touch anything, but I was able to rent out right away while adding the basement suite. So that part I really like it. And also the turnaround really good because basement suite usually takes 6 months about, like 3 months for the, couple months for the permit and then couple months for the construction. So in the total, it should be like around the 6 months you can turn around. And I was able to sold. So the total money that I invest, 1.22 million and 200, and there's some financing cost there. But I was able to sell for 1.92 million. Yes. So like, oh, I like this. So I would like to do more.
Yeah, yeah. And it's lean and clean.
Lean and clean.
I
Yes.
love it. I
Yes.
love it. I
It was
love it.
good. And I know exactly what the next buyer would look for it. So I made how can I say one-stop package. So I got all the tenants moved in and really good rent. So for them, they can just come in and then they can just get the financing right away. Because I understand that a lot of investors also coming from different the provinces, right? And they want building like cash flow from day one of purchase. So I just made everything ready to go. So I really enjoyed that project. So like, oh, how can I do more of this, right? But the challenge was that it's infill. So when I come back a year later, I took a 1 year off and I just traveled a lot because I took 3 buildings in one summer. So it was a really good year, but also I felt burned out. So 1 year I just took a year off and I went to a lot of boot camps with you, right? In the US and Las Vegas and LA like that.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun, right? You just enjoy. And then when I came back, so like, oh, it's a time. I'm ready to go back to work. So then that's when like, oh, I really like traveling. And also I really like that last project, how lucrative it was. But it was very hard to replicate because it was infill. And you don't know when the next infill will be and also by the time that when I came back, everybody knew about Aplex. Everybody knew that Aplex is very lucrative. So especially builder, they wouldn't sell with the 4plex. They know that
They already added it to it.
if they finish all the basement, they can sell for like over 2 million now. Right? So it was really hard, like finding the deal, and also harder to predict when the next deal gonna come. And also the other thing is because I took a 1 year off, when I came back, all the investors who invested with me, they all left. They went to another project because they don't want to leave their money just sitting doing nothing. So that was one of the things that like, oh, we always chasing 2 moving targets. When we have deal, we don't have necessarily capital. But when we have capital, we don't necessarily have a deal. So I was thinking, how can I create a system that now we can enlist to secure one acquisition end so that it will be easier. And also we can create a system that bring the deal in the pipeline. So they will also help us to raise capital too. So that's how I came up with that. And also like, oh, I'm getting old, getting lazy, or maybe smarter, so that instead of looking for the new deal every time, because every time new deal is different, especially when you work with the older buildings, there's their own challenges. So then we have to stop. We have to spend a lot of time doing the feasibility analysis. So why don't I create something that we can replicate and scale up, just copy and paste? So that's how I come with this system. So now this is system, we work with one of the biggest builders in Western Canada. The one of challenge when we work with the infill, it's hard to find the next land. Everybody's fighting for the land. And when you go to the bidding war, the deal become a mediocre deal. So I didn't want it to fight with everybody else. So I wanted to create a niche market.
You're talking about like multiple offers, people fighting for the same deal. Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody wanted to build the Aplex. So then the lot, it used to be 50 by 150 square feet lot. It used to be low 300K in Edmonton. Depends on the areas. Can be a little bit different. But it was around like 300, low, medium, like that. But now it's even like 400, mid 400 too. So it's not a good deal anymore for me. I know there are a lot of people with a deep pocket in different cities, Toronto and BC. They still feel that's a really good deal. They don't mind to just buy it because they just need some place to bank their money. So they're still gonna buy it. As a seasoned investors, it's not very lucrative anymore when you deal with when you have to compete with the rest of investors.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create a niche market that is very exclusive.
And so we have Home Alchemists.
Yes, yes.
Tell me about Home Alchemist and first of all, what's the meaning behind the name? That's that's important, you know.
Yes.
And then tell me what what you do.
Yeah, so it's a funny story. So I read a book, called The Alchemist.
I read that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. I read it actually in Korean.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I read it like almost 16 years ago before I came to Canada. So one night I visited my sister's house and there was a book there. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I started reading it and I couldn't put it down. It was so interesting. And after I read that book, that evening I started reading like around 5 p.m. something and I finished around like 2 a.m.
Wow.
Yes. And then after that book, like, oh, I gotta come to Canada because I always had a burning desire. I wanted to come to Western country. So if it was either US or Canada. So like, oh, I have to pursue my dream. So that was a lesson I got out of that book. And then that actually helped me to come here today where I am. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you put it together?
Right.
And also for the people that haven't read the book,
Right.
you know, what was the from the Alchemist, because I remember the Alchemist in the book, but how did you tie it to the real estate?
So the one thing is don't ever give up your dreams. That's one lesson from the Alchemist. And the other thing is the Alchemist does transform from non-precious metal or ugly things to precious metal like Mogul or something beautiful. So when I was looking into name my company name, well, I'm actually buying old houses and I'm renovating and transforming brand new houses and people appreciate it, right?
Nice.
From like all those ugly pink and green tub and we are converting to the brand new really nice tub like that, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, why not putting this, right? So then that's how I put together Home Alchemist. But then I played a little bit. It's usually the right proper spelling is CH, Alchemist. But I came from Korea, and my last name is Kim.
Yeah, we got to do the K.
Yes, we got to do the K. That's how I came with this name.
I love it. And so what do you got going on? You got lots, what do you got going on?
So we have 2 more. So it was very hard. Right now, the builders are aware that Edmonton is about to boom, if not already started.
It's booming.
It's booming.
Yeah.
So the project that I'm working on right now, we have 8 lots and we're building 32. It's a single family, but we bundled as a multifamily. So we can still qualify for CMHC, CMRI Select. And the new project I'm working on is we have 10 more lots in southwest Edmonton, very high thought after neighbor. We can build 40 units. And I do have another 11 units under the contract in West End area. It's also very good areas. So I noticed that builder, since the first project we locked down and then we're working on, they increased like 3 times on price already. And now they are looking into have another price soon within a couple of days.
And what do you think is driving everybody to Edmonton? Is it the price? Is it the population growth? Like what do you, because you live there.
Yes.
And you know, like you could have chosen to live anywhere. So you
Right.
you were there before the boom.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
And so you're probably the best person to ask, you know, like what's going on in Edmonton?
Yes, I did a little bit of study as well. Why Edmonton is booming at this time. So there's multiple factors, like several factors there. First of all, I think most of affordability. So people looking to place that they can actually afford and have a lifestyle they want to have it, right?
Yeah.
Because when I did my research, it shows that 33% is Edmonton affordability, while the BC and Toronto was way high, 80% or even 100%. So for them, especially for the young generation, it will be very hard for them to buy a house that they can actually afford, right? So and
So
also
so you see a lot of young families moving to Edmonton just simply to achieve the Canadian dream of owning a home.
exactly, yes. And the economy is very strong as well, right? So when you have a more population coming in, so when I did my research, it says that over 100,000 people coming to city within the country, and also immigrations too, right? Immigrants coming as well. So when you have that many of a population every year, there gotta be more new jobs, and that drives more people to come as well. So that's one factor. And the other one is population and affordability. And we have very landlord friendly, the regulations. So
We love that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm just scratching my head whenever I'm hearing that they have like 12 months, they never receive their rent, but still they're struggling.
Don't
to
get me
evict
started.
them, right? So that's scary. Like I don't think I can be. I don't want to be a landlord in the city that doesn't support the landlord, right? So the Edmonton is very friendly for the landlord, and we only need 2 weeks to evict tenants. You can have a hearing within 2 weeks.
God bless Alberta.
Yes.
Kind of switching gears a little bit. You said you have 2 girls. What are the things that you've taught your daughters about investing that maybe you didn't learn?
So actually, very interesting question, because my daughters, both of them have been investing with me since they're teenagers. Since I started my real estate journey, they've been a biggest supporter of mine, but also they understand that how started to understand the financing, right? So whenever they have a money from whenever we visit our family in Korea, they get some money from their family relatives, and they give it to me like, Mom, I'm investing with you, because I offer them 10% annual return.
Wow.
Yes. So and then they also started learning about compound effect over years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that is one thing they are learning, but also the current deal was from friends of my daughter. So I told my daughter that you always wanted to have a car, so I would like to split the commission with you because you brought a good deal, right? And the funny part though, so I could have probably like offer something she can actually buy a car, but she was saying that, oh, you know what, Mom, actually I don't need a car. I want to invest my money with you. It's like, oh,
let's
dang.
go. Let's go.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
that. I like that.
So I think they started learning. Mommy is traveling a lot, and last year I traveled with my mom for like 3 months without worrying about schedule, worrying about approval from the supervisor, because I don't have a supervisor. Yes, and also not worrying about paying the bills while I'm traveling, because the income is coming from the property. So that's nice. So then my mom started learning that, oh, my mom, I want to do more traveling too. And I'm looking at my mom that there are not many people actually able to afford to travel that long without worrying about it, returning to work. So I think she started to realize that, oh, my mom must be doing something right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So actually, last BC boot camp, You
Yes.
saw my daughter,
Yes,
right?
I was inspired. I love when young people start getting interested in real estate, and they start like, to me, that you're already way beyond like all of us. When you're a young person that can see the big picture.
Yes, yeah. So I think the drive was that she went to Korea, Japan, China for 3 months. I didn't go with her this time. She went with her own friends, and she really enjoyed that travel experience.
Yeah.
She met a lot of good people, and she learned so many new things, right? So she really enjoyed it. She wants to come back. She was like, I really like to do more travel, but I'm checking my bank account. There's not much money left. She's like, Mom, I gotta work. So like, no, you don't need to.
Yeah,
Maybe you don't
yeah.
need to work.
Yeah.
So then she's like, oh, I want to do what you do. So I want to learn what you do. So that's why she wanted to come with me to the boot camp. So that's why we went together.
Yeah, and I, what, I encourage, everyone, especially in Wealth Genius, bring your kids, even if they're like 12 years old, they're gonna get something out of it. We made that announcement. Someone must have caught it. Someone must have been listening. Where's the next expand?
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Genius podcast, presented in part by Expand Investor Conference, this May 16th to 18th in Edmonton, Alberta. Get your tickets now at wealthgenius.ai/expand, and we'll see you at the top.